Namaste. I'm delighted, excited, honored to welcome Kali to the Term 1 courses. Even if you know a little bit about Kali, you will feel that her appearance in these times in our midst is rather inevitable. It is when all of the stories and meaning-making mechanisms that we have held on to and we have thought are solid and eternal, it's when they start to feel a bit shaky underneath our feet that we can hear Kali's voice inviting us, saying, "Turn around and face me." Facing Kali is turning to our depths, turning to the cave within us. It is moving towards that part of ourselves, that sensation, that feeling in us that exists despite all the stories, despite all the narratives we are given, despite all the meanings we are given. It is that movement deep in us that is a yearning. And all of these depth practices in many ancient traditions across the world speaks of this yearning. This yearning to be able to find that movement which is at one with all of reality, without being fragmented, without being presented with stories that oppose each other. That you buy into one story, you sign up for one story, and then it conflicts with something else. That you're only offered choices which are polarized. And so there is this yearning, is what is that movement that is beyond all this, that is this movement that can hold all of reality. And that is the invitation of Kali when we turn to face Kali. I just want to share a little bit about what we will be looking at in the different classes this term. In the Rasa classes, we will be studying a dance of Kali, Kalika Ashtakam, that is based on a beautiful composition by Adi Shankara, who was a philosopher who dates back to about 400 BCE. And this particular composition invokes Kali right at the beginning as this movement of yearning. And the yearning is not how we think of yearning now. It is the ferocity. Turning to face one's yearning is an act of passion and ferocity. So in the Rasa class, we will be following more of a Nyasa approach, which is placing the descriptions of the goddess through movement on our own bodies. And this is the practice of contemplation, the practice of dance as contemplation is always an intimate practice. It is not about talking about somebody else, but it is about what happens when we place the movements of that deity, the movements of Kali, on our own bodies. And that transformative process is what we will be dancing in the Rasa classes. In the Kali dance contemplation classes, we look at the full practice of Kali, which is a very ancient practice. But as they say, what is most ancient is also most modern. So Kali really comes from the pre-Vedic mother goddess practices. Now, Vedas date to 1500 BCE. The mother goddess practice existed before the Vedas. And you see some of the remnants in the Vedas in the form of the goddess Aditi. Aditi, the goddess that is unbound, unfettered, unshackled, the only. So this is not a relational invocation of the goddess. But Aditi is like this source that is complete in itself. And some of these practices were lost where, under the more patriarchal Vedic philosophy. They resurfaced later on as Kali. But Kali herself, in a lot of the popular understanding, is understood in a very relational way, relational to Shiva. While that has a place, there is also that practice of Aditi, which is very present in Kali, especially when you embody the physicality of Kali and embody the movements of Kali, that sense of that unbound hair, the sense of being not, you can't control Kali, the sense of being unfettered, unshackled, and unbound, very strongly present also in the Kali practice. But importantly, Kali and the practice of the mother goddess is really very essential. It's a very central part of this invitation to become a woman in contemplation that is very much a part of contemplative practices all over the world, including in India. And the dance contemplation class will really look at the breadth of this practice, the different associated deities like Aditi, and also really draw our attention to how some of these understandings we have of woman, of mother, they are not really how they manifest in the practice. We need to abandon some of these stories that we have around these practices. So that is what we will be exploring. We will be dancing and moving in the dance contemplation classes. The philosophy class will look at the philosophy that underpins the feminine in contemplation. So again, we will start with the pre-Vedic period. We will look at Aditi and some of the Vedic deities, and we will also look at how some of those elements flowed into what became Kali, and what that means for contemplation. Why is it so vital for both men and women, for all of us, to come into this presence? And what is the womanhood? What is the woman as embodied in the Kali practice? So if you so wish, the philosophy classes offer the opportunity to deepen your practice in the other dance classes. So once again, I welcome Kali, and I look forward very much to the honor of your company as we move, embody, dance this powerful deity, Kali. Namaste.